Hi guys, this is Ling Soto coming to you from Inglewood, California, Roots Nutrition. I'm here with Dr. Romeo Brooks, naturopath doctor, and I'm going to ask him a couple of questions. There's this new thing. Some people call it a fad. It's called the ketogenic diet. So our question for you, Doc Romeo, is what is keto or ketogenic diet? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, you have to think of the body as an energy system, Wayne, and that's what it is. And if you think about it, an abundance of energy is an abundance of health. Sickness and disease is actually an energy crisis. And if you think about it, the total absence of energy is called death. So everything is about energy. It's about fueling the body. Now, most people fuel the body with carbohydrates. But if you think about it, if you're trying to build a barbecue pit and you want to grill some chicken, ribs, or whatever it is, if you put newspaper in, you got to burn the newspaper. Well, it's not going to give off much heat and it's going to burn up really fast. So you got to put more newspaper in. That burns up. You got to put more newspaper in, and it burns up. So newspaper is like carbohydrates in this illustration. Carbohydrates, you eat them, you burn them off. You eat more, you burn them off. Most people in the United States are carbo killers or carbo loads, and then they eat that up and it just burns off repeatedly. But if you put protein in or you put logs on the fire, logs take a little longer to heat up, but they actually generate more heat and they'll burn longer. But eventually, even the logs will burn up. That's how protein is. But if you put coals in, now coals actually take a lot longer to heat up, but once they heat up, they'll burn all day and all through the night if you don't put them up. That's how fat is. So the ketogenic diet is really a fat-dominant diet. It's actually about 75% fat, 10% protein, and about 5% carbs, something like that. Or about 20% protein, 5% carbs. But the thing is, it's fat dominant. So when you look at it in terms of fuel, fat burns a lot cleaner and a lot better than carbs. So when you burn fat for fuel, it releases ketones. And ketones is a fuel that body can burn a lot better, a lot cleaner than carbs, and that's why it balances your blood sugar. It gives more energy and fuel to the brain. You have more mental alertness. It burns fat on the body. Because think about it, if your body's burning fat for fuel, you don't have to eat. Most people exercise to try to burn off fat in the body. That's not the way to do it. You can't exercise enough to burn off a belly that's hanging over into your lap. You'll be working out day and night, day and night, day and night. You can't do it. Exercise is to stimulate the brain and just the nervous system. But as far as burning calories, you can't do it like that. But a ketogenic diet, which some people, like you said, call a fad, is not a fad. It's here to stay. It is actually the best thing. It actually should be the standard of care everywhere on the planet.
But what about like all these people and the culture out there that think they need to be on a low-fat diet, or that if you eat fat, you'll get fat? I mean, that's what we've been taught. That's what we've known for years and years and years.
You're absolutely right. And what? We're fatter than ever. That's the whole thing. We're fatter than ever on a low-fat diet. Why? Because a low-fat diet, you're eating more carbs and starches. Carbs spike your insulin. When the sugar goes up in the blood, it spikes insulin. Insulin is the fat-storing hormone. So even vegetarians and vegans, when they have a tendency to eat more starches because they shy away from the meats, the animal flesh, they eat more carbs, starches, and sugars. Believe it or not, most people in the United States eat over 160 pounds of carbs, starches, and sugars in a year. The body can't handle that. It's too much. So when you fill the cells with this sugar, and then the body produces insulin to try to move the sugar out of the blood into the cells, and the cell says, look, you've been doing this too many times, we can't stand it. Now you have insulin resistance. That's the bottom line. When you have insulin resistance, your body stores fat. And you get fatter and fatter and fatter, when the easiest way to turn things around is to eat more fats. Cut the carbs, cut them way down, and then your body burns fat for fuel 24/7, even while you're sleeping. So you think about it. What if you can burn fat throughout the day, throughout the night, and throughout the time that you sleep? What's going to burn more fat off your body? Or are you trying to work it out in an hour or two? It's just not going to work.
That's amazing. So if what you're saying is right, this can actually help obesity then, or people with diabetes.
Absolutely. You know what the problem with obesity is? People think like, oh, well, a person that's obese has insulin resistance. Well, I believe that you have insulin resistance, and that's what causes the obesity. Because your cells can't take any more sugar. So then you try to go on and take insulin or glyburide or glipizide, metformin, whatever it is, to force this bad sugar into the cells when the body is saying this is enough. I mean, what do you think insulin resistance is? It's reducing the insulin because you keep producing more and more because the body resists it. Then you produce more, and that's what happens. So you got to listen to the body. It's making a request based upon its needs.
That's amazing. That's completely backwards from what the culture, what we grew up knowing or even doing.
Well, absolutely. You know, I think of the African bushman that can be 85 years old, and he's going to have muscle bellies and striations and a six-pack and definition all over his body, and he's lean and mean. And here we are, we're eating all the carbs and starches in the world, the low-fat diets, we're doing all of this stuff. And I tell you, just like the newspaper, it's going to burn up. Look, I was a firefighter for 32 years. You burn a paper, it goes up like that. It just goes up. You put wood, it's going to take a lot longer to heat up, but then it burns up. But coals, we'll be trying to put that out all night.
So recently, about 10 weeks ago, you introduced Keto Coffee to me. I mean, you introduced to me personally, to me and my wife, and you had shared a story about what it had did for you. And when you introduced it to me, amazingly, some things happened that changed my life. Can you talk about Keto Coffee a little bit and why it's allowed me to just have the results I've had and be able to do these, to even sustain a keto diet?
Well, right, because carbs, you burn them off. Like I said, you eat them, you burn them off, you eat them and burn them off, and that's why you have to continue eating them, because they don't give you enough energy or sustaining energy. The thing with keto coffee is a coffee that you put fat in. You might put coconut oil in there, MCT powder, MCT oil. You can put ghee in there or butter or whatever. And it's the fat. Of course, coffee is going to be stimulating and give you some energy, but it's the fat that gives you that long burning energy, and it keeps your blood sugar stable. When your blood sugar is stable, you have energy for a long period of time. When you have the carbs, it goes up, the pancreas produces insulin, insulin moves the sugar out of the blood into your cells, the blood sugar goes down. Now you need more energy. That's why you got to eat more. The thing with keto, think of it like this. What if you crash in the jungle of Brazil? You're on a plane and you crash in the jungle of Brazil, and now you have to hike out 50 miles with a machete through jungle terrain. They said, look, we'll give you 20 apples or 20 avocados. Now you got to go 50 miles through jungle terrain. If you take the apples, you're going to burn them up in the first few miles. Because yeah, they'll raise your blood sugar, but they're going to burn off. But the fat in the avocados will give you long burning fuel where you can eat it half, chop it down, eat some more, chop it down, eat some more. And that's why it's going to burn pure and clean. So think of newspaper, if you will, or starches as burning dirty, like black smoke coming off of paper or off of wood. Fats burn clean and evenly. So think of turning on the gas on the stove. You don't see that black smoke coming off the stove. That's what I always say, people. You want steady. If I always think of it, if you get a candle wick and you light it, it'll burn straight down. But if you put lots of wax around it, it burns slow and steady. That's what the keto coffee does. It gives you long and steady energy. I mean, I can drink it and not eat till 4 in the afternoon without a meal. And it's not, I'm not trying to. It's just,
for sure,
I'm not hungry.
Sure. So you wrote 2 books. One is Body Intelligence, and then the other one is called Stop Hiding the Fat. Now, in Stop Hiding the Fat, in the first chapter, you say something or talk about something called skinny fat. What the heck is skinny fat? Now, I never heard that term until you said that. Actually, you said it in one of your videos on YouTube, but then you also wrote it in the book. And we don't know what skinny fat is. What is skinny fat?
Well, I give the example in the book of a lady that's 6 feet and 125 pounds. You know, she has on her black skinny jeans and this sunburst yellow blouse, and you know, and she looks good. She looks fit and fashionable. But the thing is, she's 45% body fat. So she's hiding, she's got like 66.5 pounds of fat. So she could be skinny, but then when she takes those clothes off, you get all of this loose fat hanging off of her. So that's what it's called, skinny fat or sarcopenia. So the thing, what it is, Ling, is that she's actually still underweight, but over fat. Mm-hmm. And just because you're underweight doesn't make you, under fat. Well, that's the thing. You can be fat, whether you're overweight and fat and a big fat person, or you can be a skinny fat person. The thing is, what it is actually body composition. How much muscle you have compared to fat. Men, as a rule, have more muscle than fat, and women will have more fat than muscle. But when you're skinny fat, That's not good.
How would a skinny fat person be affected? How would their health be affected if they're skinny fat? I mean, are they in more danger than fat people, or are they a little bit better, or how would that?
Well, think about it like this. When your body stores fat, what is that telling you? That's like insulin resistance. Because you're taking in so many starches and carbs and sugars, your body has to do something with it. So if it can't utilize it, it stores it as fat. If we got in your car and say we're going to drive to San Diego, and we fill up your gas tank, we top it off, we take off, we get on the freeway, and the freeway is crowded. It says, you know what, we're going to get off the freeway and wait for the traffic to die down. We go back to the gas station, and we go put more fuel in it. If we start pumping gas, it's going to spill over into the ground. Well, when you eat so much more fuel than you utilize or burn off, it's going to spill over into your body as adipose tissue. It doesn't matter if you're skinny and fat or big and fat, it's the same thing. But if we actually drove all the way to San Diego, you can afford to put more fuel in. So in a nutshell, we're taking in more fuel than the body can handle, and it has to store it on the body as fat. That's why insulin is the fat storing hormone. You got to change the game.
But I don't understand. So if having too much insulin, and people continue to eat more and more carbs, and then they become insulin resistant, and then they become diabetics, how is getting more insulin from the doctor or externally solving the problem of having too much insulin? I'm lost.
No, it's not solving the problem. That's the thing. The cells are insulin resistant, saying we have enough already. And because you keep trying to bring this more sugar into the cells, this is it. We can't take any more. And so when you take insulin, that forces the issue. That pushes the sugar into the cells anyway. So yeah, it's actually working against you. That's the way I see it. And if you think about it, if you take it, your body won't make it. So if you take insulin, why would your pancreas produce insulin? Think about it like this. I had a lady, she was like 16 years ago. She was 66 years old. She was 300 pounds. She was on insulin and high blood pressure medications. So, I think her blood sugar was like 500 or 600. I said, look, how are we going to get your sugar down? You're taking the insulin, your blood sugar is still out of whack. How are we going to get your blood sugar down? I want you to think about it. She says, well, I can drink water to help urinate out the excess sugar. I said, okay. You're thinking, what else can you do? Well, I can exercise to help me burn up some of the sugar. I said, okay, yeah, but what else can you do? She's like, that's it. I can't think of anything else. I said, how about don't put the sugar in? Let's just not put it in. So, I had her eat an omelet that morning with non-starchy vegetables that don't turn to sugar, like broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, cabbage, greens, squash, spinach, Brussels sprouts, anything that doesn't turn to sugar. So she, cooked those in coconut oil, whatever, made her omelet, and had her put fat on it, avocado. So she had that in one of my green drinks. And then lunch and dinner, I told her, let's keep it simple. Let's get a large leafy green salad, some more cooked non-starchy vegetables, and a little piece of meat the size of your hand, a fatty piece of meat. I said, let's do that for lunch and dinner. In 3 weeks, she lost 37 pounds, got off her insulin and high blood pressure medication, and was back to work. She didn't like that back to work part, but look at what it is. And I didn't tell her to do anything else. Of course, check your blood sugar, and if your blood sugar is low, if it bottoms out, you can't just keep taking insulin because it'll be down too low. Wow. So that was the thing. It just leveled her out. Why? Because without eating the sugar over a while, over that 3-week period, her body switched from sugar burning to fat burning. I mean, think about it. How can you lose 37 pounds in 21 days and not exercise? Remember, she's 66 years old. She's on disability. Oh, she's not running around 10 miles every day for 3 weeks. She's sitting there, but her body became a fat-burning machine, and that's why she was able to do it. And I had never heard of keto at that time.
So Dr. Jason Fung, he has a video on YouTube. He says that diabetes is a dietary disease, and for a dietary disease, you need a dietary solution.
Sounds
right
to me.
So if you create it through diet, then you can fix it through diet. And this is his words. I mean, he has a video on YouTube. The doctor, he's from Canada, and so I mean, what are your thoughts on that statement?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, of course, if it's type 1 diabetes, it's genetic, and it was something, maybe the pancreas not producing enough insulin from childbirth or wherever, and as a juvenile, it used to be called a juvenile diabetes. Now it's called type 1 and type 2. It used to be juvenile diabetes and adult onset diabetes. Well, now it's type 1 and 2 because even children can have type 2 diabetes, which is funny. But because we eat so many carbs and starches and fast foods and processed foods, so it's changed the game. But yeah, I think most health challenges are diet related. And because they are diet related, they can be changed with diet. But for me, the culprit is definitely insulin resistance. I mean, just cut it out. I mean, I've cut it out. I've cut the sugars and starches out and got them down to a minimum. I mean, I'm like 65 years old, but I can run and jump and do anything I did on the department. You know, I've been retired for 10 years. And I'm still not fat. I'm lean. I probably have like 7% body fat maybe. I don't work out I work out 10 minutes a day. But remember, working out is not burning calories, like calories in, calories out. No, it's being hormonally balanced by eating the right diet to fuel the body correctly where it burns fat for fuel. And that leads you out automatically. And so when you change your diet, you can change your life.
This is true. That's pretty amazing. Well, Doc Romeo, I want to thank you for your time. There's several more questions that I want to ask you. We're going to do that on some different interviews. Just leave us with one last thought that you would. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that don't know the truth, that don't know where to start. They're suffering. They're sick. A lot of folks on medication. There's a lot of confusion and contradiction floating around. I mean, what's the one thing you would say as or what recipe or suggestion, that you would give a friend or something, to just try to get better, to go in the right direction?
You gotta cut starches and the sugars and the carbs. A lot of people think like, well, I don't eat too much sugar. I don't eat candy and cookies and cakes and pies and any of those things so much. But see, we eat the starches, the carbs, the potatoes, the corn, the rice, the beans. All those starches turn to sugar before they go into the blood. It's the same thing. We're eating you don't think of crackers as turning to sugar because they're salty. You don't think of biscuits as turning to sugar. I grew up on biscuits and syrup. That was sugar on sugar. Who knew? But that's what it is. I used to put sugar in water and drink it and then pour more water in a glass and drink it so I can fill up. And people in my family died from high blood pressure and diabetes, just one after another after another. My mother from my father, my older brother, my older sister, then another brother, my youngest brother. I'm telling you, you gotta cut the starch and sugar. You gotta get more fats into your system. And then when you do it, you'll see the difference. Don't even take my word for it. Just eat good fats, bring them to the diet. You can change one meal to more fat dominant diet. After a while, do 2 meals like that, 3 meals like that. Then you'll see you'll probably just need 2 meals. Cut it down because you'll have so much more fuel, you won't even be hungry again. That's the whole thing. But I'm telling you, sugar is the culprit. And not just in the form of the sugar, but in the form of carbs and starches. When you cut those things down, they used to do that. Before they created insulin back in the 1920s, they improved people's diet by taking away the starches and their blood sugar got better. But then once they created insulin, they said, oh, well, now that we have insulin, you can eat whatever you want. So now people ate more starches again and it gave them the insulin. Time out.
So that was just kind of a try to eat your cake or have your cake and eat it too type of solution, which is not working obviously with the numbers.
And it's the same thing with alcohol. Alcohol is a protoplasmic poison. It turns to sugar. And then, you get off the alcohol. Great. Best thing you can do. But what's in the back of the room at the AA meetings? More sugar. Cookies, cakes, pies, donuts, coffee with sugar. They're trying to get your sugar fix all over again because it burns off. Start bringing those fats in, avocados, nut seeds, coconut oil, olives, olive oils. Bringing the fatty, clean meats if you want, salmon, wild-caught salmon, grass-fed beef, grass-fed butter. It changes the game. I definitely want to clean and organic if you have to eat meats. And if not, eat the plant fats. And it's the best thing that you can do. That's the magic.
For sure. Then that's a whole nother interview. Is a vegetarian keto. There's regular keto and vegetarian keto. But thanks again. We're gonna end this here now. But there's more interviews that are gonna be coming to you guys. You know what? Comment below if you have any questions or something that you want us to discuss or talk about. We're just grateful to be here to be able to discuss this and have the knowledge to do it. So with that said, guys, Have peace.
And
Eat
right.
well.
Ciao.